Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all. Intrashlupak, Shamat Shkwachich, Maxine Joseph Bruce, Leo Wadolfgan, Schladmuchgan. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Spel Community Forest webinar. It's exciting to be a part of this discussion. There are some simple guidelines that we should be following, on these Zoom calls, and I'll just read out a brief, some guidelines. Just a reminder to respect each other's values, interests, and knowledge systems. Listen with an open mind. Seek first to understand different perspectives than to be understood. Confront challenges, not people, and ensure all participants have an opportunity to speak if that's what we're doing. Again, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us on today's discussion about Spelkumten Community Forest. Clay will be providing a PowerPoint to get us get everyone better familiar with the Spelkumten Community Forest. As a member of the Lil'wat Nation, I celebrate and acknowledge that the Spelkumten Community Forest is taking place within the Lil'wat territory. I feel very proud for that. Also like to thank the panelists that are here tonight. There's myself, there's Nikki, there's Carrie Mahaffey, there's Clay Tyndall. I see Sarah is here. Hi, Sarah. Abe as well. So awesome. And Sheena and Gwendolyn. It's good to see you guys. So without any, I guess, further delays, we'll have Clay do the presentation.
All right, thanks, Maxine. All right, I will share my PowerPoint here with everyone. So yeah, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out. It'd be great if we could be meeting in person, but obviously we can't. So I guess this is the next best thing. So happy to be here and to share some information regarding the Spelkumten Community Forest. It didn't just happen overnight. It's been a lot of work in the background with a lot of heavy lifting done by both the Village of Pemberton, Lil'wat Nation, and consultants helping us out. So we really do appreciate all the help everyone's provided to us. And yeah, we're really excited to move forward with this new forest venture. So here's a map of the Spelkumten Community Forest. It basically surrounds both the Village of Pemberton and Lil'wat communities. And you can see that there are a few areas taken out within it. It runs up to private land up the Meadows Road, and also it also surrounds a number of woodlots. So those are private forest tenures managed by Lil'wat and other owners. We do manage, though, the areas basically, as I said, nearest to the community. So they are of high value to the communities and of very high interest. So for those of you that aren't familiar with a community forest, there is one in Whistler that's currently operating, Cheakamus Community Forest. This is the second one that's been operating in the Sioux TSA and up the Sea to Sky. And community forests, as I put here, don't operate as a traditional forest license. So we do manage them for more than just timber value, and these values are looked at a higher level. So the environmental, social, and economic values are being looked at in greater detail in the community forest, just because it is so close to the community. And the considerations and desires of both communities are taken into consideration. And that's part of the reason why we're here today, to get feedback from the community and to let them know about the work that's going to be happening. The Spel Community Forest isn't a traditional forestry company, like I mentioned. For those of you that aren't familiar with forestry, in the province, the majority of the province is managed by the province of British Columbia. So 95% of the province is Crown land, and it's overseen by the province of British Columbia. The province does give out forest tenures to generally major licensees who oversee the timber harvesting and reforestation of those areas. For those that aren't aware, the majority of the areas are overseen by big forest companies. So probably names you've heard or bought 2x forests from, like Canfor, West Fraser, Western Forest Products, Interfor. So there's big licensees that oversee big chunks of land in the province, and they basically manage the trees and the areas primarily for timber production. They do look at other values, but not to the same level that we will be here in the community forest. The community forest here is overseen by a board of directors that's made up of Lil'wat Nation members and Village of Pemberton members, and the communities are the shareholders. So meaning the profits don't go, into stocks and to people who invest in it. They actually just go back to the community. So it's a lot different than a Canfor, like I said, or an Interfor. When we're managing and overseeing these licenses, like I said, we do look at all the different values, and that's something that we're pretty proud of at Lil'wat here. We look at timber values, but we also look at the value of the standing timber as well and what it brings to the community. There's been times working for Lil'wat Forestry Ventures that we haven't harvested timber as a desire by Lil'wat, and we see the same thing happening as we increase our management. The standing trees do hold a large importance to us. Not only do we see it as an opportunity to profit when we do harvest the timber, but the majority of us who work for the community forest also enjoy recreating in the areas and spending time in there. For Lil'wat, they're very tied to the forests, and it holds a really, really important part of the community values. So we are doing what we can to look at all the different values out there, everything from the mushrooms that grow from the ground to the medicines that we see growing higher up. So the smaller plants to the berries that grow even at higher levels, to the roots of the cedar trees, to the inner cedar bark. So the forests are seen in a lot of different ways, not only just for timber value. So and we know that there's a lot of other people who enjoy the forest, not only for the things I mentioned, but for mountain biking, for hunting, for the clean water it provides to the fish. So we're looking at all these different values when we make our decisions, and we've got a great team working to help ensure these values are being maintained. So like I mentioned, the community forest doesn't operate only based on timber value, and this does cost extra money. So like I said, if we want to put a bigger buffer on a stream than what's required by the province, we'll be leaving behind higher value trees. When we harvest our blocks, we leave behind trees to provide seed, to provide shade. And we are going to work hard at letting the community members know this as well. Because unfortunately right now, a lot of those trees do get cut down for firewood when we do our best to keep them for Mother Nature. So we do see this as a way to inform the public as well. So as I mentioned, it does cost to do things differently, but we feel like we do a much better job. One of the things I did want to mention is that unfortunately it does cost us more to do things differently, but the sustainably harvested logs that we are going to be providing from the community forest currently don't provide significantly more value than logs harvested from another licensee. They all go to the same markets. Currently, our Douglas fir goes down to the lower mainland, to Richmond plywood, and gets turned into plywood, for instance. So we do want to find ways to increase the value of these logs if possible. So that, again, may provide some community benefits as we move forward. There are a number of benefits that community forests bring to the communities. I have already talked about a number of them, but this is just a short list of them. So local decision making, like I said, we live in and work in the community, and see people's faces, or at least we saw them before COVID on the streets and in the restaurants. So hopefully we'll be able to see people again and be able to discuss this forest and what goes on in it. Accountability, like I said, when we do see you, we'll talk to you if we're allowed. Maybe not 6 feet in the future, but yeah, we'll hopefully be able to talk to you about what's going on, and we will be accountable for the work that goes on. Profits remain local, so like I said, the profits aren't going to a major shareholder and into dividends and into a mill maybe in another country. The profits are staying with the communities. We see this as a great opportunity for local employment and economic development. Since Lilwat Forestry Ventures has started managing the forest, the majority of the silviculture work, for instance, is getting done by Lilwat members. So it's been a great source of employment for the community, and a great way to not only build capacity, but to build careers. So we see this as a way to continue with that. Local engagement and stewardship, that involves basically all the different values the forest brings, and looking at ways that we can be more involved. So, whether it's ungulate winter range, so deer, and where they spend their time in the winter, to recreation and people looking for recreation tenures, we'll be more involved in this type of activity and be able to let the communities know what's going on, and basically be able to put a voice from the community back into the decisions that are being made by the province of British Columbia at the moment. Relationship building is probably one of the biggest and best parts of this, having the two communities working together. It's an unreal opportunity and something that I think everybody's really, really proud of. And last but not least, wildfire risk management. We might not be thinking of it now, but come the smoky times we've seen in August and some of the previous years, we know that there is high risk of wildfires in all our communities, and it'll be something we will be looking into a little bit more. I know that Abe can talk a little bit more about that to you if you guys have questions about it, but yeah, it's something that we do want to do more of and plan for in some of the timber harvesting activities we do. So I just showed a picture here. It's not a great photo, but it does show, we do know the importance of mountain bike trails, and we have a map showing where they're located in the community forest, and I think that again is one of the benefits of the community managing the timber around the community, that we do know about all the different values and we hear about it, and our friends are talking about the trails they ride, or we're riding them, and we know where they're located and know the importance of them. So it's and that not only goes for mountain bike trails, but it goes for traditional hiking trails that Lilwat uses, or mushroom picking patches, or everything. So yeah, we do know the values that the community has in the nearby forests. It's going to be quite a balancing act because, you know, we want to provide money back to the communities, but we also realize that for the community forest to grow, we do need to invest money back into it to help it grow, and to, like I said, inform the public maybe of different things that we're doing. And we also want to create this jobs and training, which, again, it may be a dollar more a cubic meter or a dollar more a tree to have a local company plant it, but again, that money is staying locally. So we do have a balancing act of where the money goes. So for those of you that have had a chance to look on the website, we do have a 2021 harvesting plan. In the past, the areas that we're harvesting on the Green River were managed by Lilwat Forestry Ventures under our non-replaceable forest license. This is now turned into the community forest license area, and we've got 5 blocks that are currently engineered and have gone through referrals committee, and they've approved them for harvesting this spring. One of them is a helicopter block, so we may not be harvesting it right away, but we are looking at harvesting the lower elevation blocks in the Green River fairly soon, so in the next month or two, and we do see them, you know, providing a great way to kick off the community forest. For those of you guys who are ever interested, our team at Hedberg and Associates and Abe, who's on the meeting tonight, provides us with significant detail of what's going on in the blocks. So here's a summary. I know there's a lot of letters and they may be confusing to you, but you know, if you're able to read forestry, it basically showing that the blocks are primarily fir and cedar with some hemlock. DR stands for alder, and I have no idea why it's the initials are DR. Do you know that, Abe? and ACT is cottonwood. So again, if you're reading these things and you have no idea what they mean, yeah, just ask myself or Abe or any other forester, because we understand this, and maybe they just do it to confuse the general public. I'm not really sure. Ground-based harvesting means we're basically just harvesting with feller bunchers and skidders. So the slopes are, you know, you can see under 55%, so they're not significantly steep. Estimated volume, I know it can be a little bit confusing, but for those of you guys that are interested, a logging truck holds about 50 cubic meters of wood. So you divide any of these by 50 and you'll get approximately how much each of the blocks is producing. All the blocks are second growth blocks. So again, you know, the primary areas around the Spel Community Forest are second growth. We do have a little bit of old growth, but the majority is second growth. I guess I didn't talk to you guys about it, but the annual allowable cut, or how much we are able to log annually of the Spel Community Forest, is 11,000 cubic meters, and that equates to about 220 logging truckloads a year. So, you know, it's not an incredibly high amount of wood, but it's still, you know, there's still some fairly high value wood, even if it's second growth. You can imagine anyone who's bought, you know, plywood from the hardware store lately, or some cedar siding is probably seeing the incredibly high prices of those right now, and that equates back to the value of our logs. So currently they are holding a high value, but like any market, that can go down as well. So we are trying to harvest these while the values are high, and bring some money back to the communities is a great way to start the community forest project. We do have another block that's located north of on Highway 99, and it's just past the turnoff to Owl Ridge, and it's located right along the hydro lines. It's BH 902, and it is also in our 2021 harvest plan. This block was shared at previous open houses and has been discussed with both Lillooet and Pemberton, and it is still in the harvest plans as well for this season. So we are going to be obviously looking at allowable annual cuts, and if we do end up getting too much volume off the other blocks, we may change it a little bit, but that's our current plan for the moment. All right, I want to thank everyone, and yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them to any of us, and unless Sarah or Abe or anyone else has anything they'd like to add. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Clay.
Yeah, thanks, Clay. We don't have anything to add. That was good.
Well, awesome. It's great to have the panelists here, and just wondering, my apologies, I didn't do any introductions. I mean, I could I know your names, but I didn't say, can you share a little bit about yourself, I guess. Yeah, if we could do that, that'd be great. Should we start with Abe and Sarah?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Abe Litz, forester with Hedberg and Associates Consulting in out of Squamish. I've been working with Clay with Lillooet Forestry Ventures for probably going close to 10 years. I'm not quite sure how long time flies, but something like that.
9.5. We're almost there.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, my role basically is to help Lillooet Forestry Ventures, to help Clay do the planning and the management of the forest. I'm the guy that does writes sort of the harvesting plans, and I'm out, walking the ground, figuring out what values are out there, whether it's wildlife, water, recreation, all the different things that you find on the land base. I'm sort of the guy that figures it all out and comes up with a plan of how we're going to manage it, and with Clay's help and everyone else here, gets that information out to the community and out to the nation, and make sure that we're planning what we want to do. So yeah, that's kind of my role, is the planning forester. I was the author of the forest stewardship plan, which is the plan that will be used to kind of guide the management of all the different values that are recognized out there. And then myself and Sarah wrote the management plan, which is a document that more goes into detail of the how and the reasoning behind how different values were identified and how we're going to manage things. So yeah, I think that's it in a nutshell. Sarah?
Great. Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I'm Sarah Weber. I work with Hedberg and Associates and have played a role in helping put together the application for the community forest, which, yeah, very happy to see this all coming to fruition now. Yeah, and like Abe said, was help work on the management plan as part of that.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. How about Nikki? Can you speak on behalf of the Village of Pemberton?
Yes, hello. Thank you for the ability to provide an introduction and a little bit about the village. So my name is Nikki Gilmore. I'm the Chief Administrative Officer here. I think all I have to say in summary is it has been I'll confirm this has been one of the longest journeys of a project that I think we've seen at the village I think it goes on to almost 20 years when we were first provided the offer from the province. And we've been hard at this, I would say dedicated for at least 5 years, really trying to make this happen. And I'm pleased that we were able to come together and form this partnership and to be able to, as Clay's mentioned in his presentation, really be able to have some say and oversight for what harvesting might look like in the areas surrounding our communities, and to have some of those benefits by way of profits or protection benefit the community as a whole. I think we're entering into unknown territory a little bit from the village's perspective. We are not foresters, and nor have we been part of any forestry activities. So we're excited to be able to learn as we go along and see how we can help, and just to make sure that this is a prosperous venture for us all. So I'm glad we were able to get to this point, and I'm glad to be here this evening.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Nikki. I'll ask Carrie Mahaffey from Lil'wat Nation to share some words with the webinar.
Hi, everybody. I am Carrie Mahaffey. I am the Chief Administrative Officer for the Lil'wat Nation, and I am also an interim board member for the Spel Community Forest as things get up and running and we go through our first year of operations. Yeah, I've been working on this project for a number of years. I've sat on the board of directors of the Cheakamus Community Forest for about 10 years. So I'm certainly looking forward to applying some of the things that we have learned there into this community forest, and things I learned this community forest back into the CCF. So thank you very much, everybody, for attending.
Thanks very much, Carrie. Can you share some words with us, Sheena Fraser, please?
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Sheena Fraser. I'm the Manager of Corporate and Legislative Services for the Village of Pemberton. And it's been my pleasure to work on this project for a number of years now, going back to, some of you may remember Mayor Warner. This was a passion of hers. And so it's really great to see this come to fruition, and in partnership with Lil'wat Nation is super exciting. I'm just supporting the board, and as they go through their new, as they develop and putting in place some of the corporate parts of this whole venture. And that's where myself and my team come in supporting the board members and obviously the community as well. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks very much. And can we have Gwendolyn from the Village of Pemberton share some words with us, please?
My name's Gwendolyn, and I work with Sheena at the village. I'm part of her team supporting the board, and I'm just so excited to be here tonight and to see this project. And I'm so pleased that I am working with Sheena at the time that this has finally all come together.
Thank you very much, everyone. We do have a question from Josh Livermore. His question is, can you provide up-to-date links for the wildfire management plan? SLRD site seems to be out of date as it has the wildfire thinning completed March 2021. Can someone answer that question?
I can start. Thanks, Maxine, and yeah, thanks, Josh, for the question. So I'll just kind of provide a bit of an overview about wildfire management protection near communities, and maybe Abe can talk specifically about the work that's being done right now, because it isn't actually being done internally. So before any of the wildfire kind of work can be done in the field, they do a community wildfire protection plan. So basically looking at the high risk areas that are near communities. So it's a balance of timber type. So looking at timber that's obviously flammable and provides very high risk if it did catch flame, in combination with proximity to communities, houses, etc. So then after a risk grading is completed, then that community wildfire protection plan is used for additional work. So basically, it gets used for looking at and rating what areas to treat. Then currently the ministry is providing contracts to companies that go in and lay out or ribbon these areas for treatment. And currently that's the work that's being done now in the village. Lilwat Forestry Ventures does have quite a bit of experience in doing the fuel thinning or the fuel management near communities, and we've been working in the Cheakamus Community Forest the last 4 years doing fuel thinning around there. So we do have experience if and when we get the engineering or the layout of the fuel thinning treatment areas completed. But we actually haven't been involved in that. But once we get that information, we'll be happy to share it on the website. So yeah, did you want to chat specifically? I know, Abe, you've been talking with the people that have been doing the consultants that have been doing the work, and might be able to give them a little bit more information about the actual areas being prepared for treatment.
Yeah, thanks, Clay. And yeah, Josh, thanks for the question. Like Clay said, at this point, we're not, the community forest or Lilwat Forestry Ventures is not involved in the planning for the wildfire treatment prescriptions and doing the treatments themselves, the fuel reduction treatments. It's something we feel quite strongly that it should be in community control. It's partially just due essentially to, it's a new program through the government funding and just the way the funding rolled out. So we're working towards getting a little bit more control of the prescriptions, when they happen, how they happen, and the treatments. For right now, I know that they're looking at an area around, the ministry has put out contracts for the prescription development. One around 1 Mile Lake. That's I believe that would be something that would be done next winter. And then another one on the Mackenzie Basin Access Road, sort of just both sides of the road there. There's another treatment polygon, and I believe that would be probably the next one to go. So yeah, that's, I don't really know that much about it right now. I know 1 Mile Lake and some stuff in Mackenzie Basin.
Nikki, you had a question or comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to just let everyone attending know that the village actually received funding from the province to do another section. It's a little bit different than the one that Abe's talking about, that the ministry is responsible, the province is responsible for, but it is in the 1 Mile Lake area. We've done a little bit of thinning several years ago, but we did issue an RFP in the fall. We haven't yet awarded that contract, but we'd also be looking at an area that would be treated in, say, fall of this coming year, but we don't have an award at this point.
Awesome, thank you. I was able to tour the fuel management, the managed area for wildfire over in the Whistler area. You could definitely see that things were being addressed there. It'd be awesome if we could share some photos with the community on what that looks like. We do have another question from Amika. Hope I pronounced that right. The question is, can you speak to the employment opportunities that will be available to the residents of Pemberton? Can someone speak to that matter?
I can put it in perspective and then kind of let Amika know about some of the work that we will be doing, or some opportunities. So unfortunately, a community forest isn't a huge tenure. Like I said, we're looking at about 11,000 cubic meters a year. To put that into perspective, in the East Kootenays, just around Cranbrook, the Canfor tenure there is about 1 million cubic meters. So it's yeah, and so the amount of work that it's going to take to prepare these blocks, to do the silviculture, all the additional kind of engineering, prior to the harvesting, and even the harvesting itself. It'll be just a portion of each of the companies that get the contracts work. It wouldn't provide a full-time job, for instance, but it will be able to add 2 companies that are located in the Sea to Sky, and it'll be able to provide them, additional work, local work. So Hedberg and Associates, for instance, if they're managing other tenures in the area and they're doing work for the Spiel Community Forest, it will keep people busy locally doing the engineering. So currently, probably, if I was looking at opportunities, especially as a young person, looking at opportunities to get into forestry, getting your foot in the door, getting some of the basic training that you need, firefighting, for instance, first aid, and then getting your boots on the ground, getting them dirty and getting out. Little Forestry Ventures always hires tree planters. The local ministry has a firefighting program through the high schools, a junior firefighting program. So again, getting your boots dirty out there, helping with firefighting. Other opportunities, may require a little bit more education, or if you have some experience, let's say fixing a machine or running machines, again, that'll help build our local contractors and give them a little bit more work. It's not something that anyone can solely base an entire career on. Even for us, it's just kind of being done in conjunction with other work. But I do see it again, keeping people locally busy locally. So it's right, rather than having to go to camp somewhere to get that forestry job for those 2 months, they'll be able to do it here. So yeah, it's not like I said, a full-time career, but it is going to bring some local work. So we do appreciate it. And if you're interested, you can contact myself and I can give you the names of all the local companies, whether it's timber harvesting or whether it's engineering or whether it's silviculture, and yeah, you're happy to apply with them. Thanks.
Thanks very much for that, Clay. Nikki, do you have any responses to that question about employment?
I think Clay answered that quite well. I think we'd be happy to promote opportunities if there are openings or training. But I would agree, I think you need to start at step 1 and see how you can, come back into the community and have contract work or work for an organized or a company that will be involved in the community forest.
Awesome. Thank you very much. How about you, Carrie Mahaffey, from the nation's perspective? Do you have any thoughts on that question?
Yeah, I know it's been something that we've talked about at the board is really focusing on developing a local procurement policy, in particular around the harvesting and who would qualify as local. We generally been looking at sort of the sea to sky area. There's a number of logging contractors, for example, do operate not Squamish, Whistler, Pemberton, and most of them operate well beyond that to sort of get crews working full-time year-round. So, I know the board has talked about it, hasn't done it yet, but we'll be developing a local procurement policy to make sure that as many of those jobs are local as possible. In addition, I do know that the BC Community Forest Association puts out an indicator report every year. So they sort of self-publish data from all the community forests across the province, and community forests are generally significantly higher in terms of the amount of local employment that they generate versus a traditional tenure.
Awesome. Thank you very much. That was 2 very important questions about, I guess, wildfire management and employment opportunities. Are there any other questions from our audience? Awesome. So that was a good presentation, Clay. It brought on a lot of clear understandings with me. I so appreciated that you incorporated the Ukwamiuch, the Lil'wat language within your PowerPoint. Kulcham in our language means take all that you, take what you need and use all that you take. So we use that a lot in our values and principles. So it's an awesome term. And this community forest, I recall the first time I attended a meeting with the village of Pemberton, I was quiet and I had to listen. And finally, I was asked the question, what do you think? And I said, this is a great opportunity for our communities to work together, especially on the concept of stewardship. I see a lot of opportunity. You heard here tonight, wildfire management, employment, and I can hear a hint of community development from the panelists. And you know, even the concept of procurement projects, that's opportunity for our community members to look into this and you know, be a part of the successful story. And using the Lil'wat name, Spel, that's what we've been calling Pemberton. So it was awesome to, you know, that we went through our processes as boards of directors, and to be able to incorporate the Lil'wat Nation language within the process is so awesome. Quite an experience for me. You know, at first when I did attend the meeting with the village of Pemberton, I was just amazed with us all that we're able to move forward together. That is awesome relationship building. And yeah, I look forward to this summer as we move forward with our harvesting. Hopefully we can share the stories with the community. Perhaps it's on the Village of Pemberton website, and some links hopefully will be put on the Lil'wat Nation website, and maybe start to have more conversations about what this community forest can do for us. Yeah. Any thoughts from the panelists on moving forward?
Yeah, hi, Abe here. Yeah, to add to that, one of the sort of the objectives of tonight's meeting was we talked about it a little, we talked around it, but is to promote community feedback and to make sure that we're sharing our plans and what we're thinking with the communities, and that you have an opportunity to ask questions and respond. So to that, there is on the website now, on the Village of Pemberton website, we have the proposed harvest for 2021, which is the blocks that Clay talked about earlier in the Green River area. So I would just like to encourage everyone that's attending to go and review those maps and check it out. As we say, Clay was saying, we think it's a great place to start because there's very few sort of, you know, difficult to manage values over there. It's sort of an area that's out of sight from town. The blocks are small. There's no recreation features associated with it. It's second growth. There's no high cultural values associated with the area. So, but that's based on our assessment, and what we want to do is make sure that that the community has the opportunity to review those and you know, maybe bring forth information that we're not aware of at this point. So again, I would encourage people to just have a look at the maps so that you get an idea of where we're going, what we're planning. And if you have any specific concerns about those areas, please reach out to Clay or myself, and we'll make sure to address that moving forward.
Thanks very much, Abe. Clay, do you have any similar things to share?
I would like to add that that Lilwat Forestry, working with Hedberg, we do, like I said, do more than the normal forestry company even when we're preparing blocks for harvest. Abe goes out and collects all the botanical information and records it. So what plants are growing in the understory of the harvest blocks, and we have a list that we've worked with a master's student from UBC on to identify plants that are in low abundance. So if Abe sees a plant that is in a low abundance out there, we can make the management decision to protect those plants and put them in a protected area, or even drop the block completely. So we do have that kind of flexibility to do more than, like I said, just look at timber harvest values. We're looking at it from a number of lenses. We also include Lilwat referrals, and they bring their cultural technicians out to look at the majority of our timber harvest blocks, to look at cultural values for those blocks, and whether they're located in a culturally sensitive area or not. They generally do look at them, so we know that we aren't doing damage to culturally sensitive areas. And if we do find them on site, we again manage for them, we protect them and record them. So to give strength of claim to the Lilwat Nation and show that these areas were used traditionally. And like Abe said, we don't know everybody's interest in the forest. If it's your favorite mushrooming ground, or your favorite hunting ground, or just a spot that you go to get away from people. So like we said, if you do have if you do see that the timber harvesting is affecting your activity. I know on the Green River, for instance, there's people that walk their dogs out there, so we'll be in contact with them, letting them know that there'll be some logging trucks going down the road during those times. But we have worked, in cooperation with them in the past, and again, look forward to doing it with them in the future. So, yeah, no, it's going to be a community effort, and we do look forward to working with everyone on it. So, thanks.
Thanks very much, Clay. When I was listening to the PowerPoint presentation, and Clay referred to the herbs and medicines, the mushrooms that this valley is famous for, that would just, hit my heart with food security as a constant discussion about ensuring food security, and especially in this time of COVID. I've been looking at some of what my relatives are doing currently. They're picking the buds off of the cottonwood trees, and they're going to turn it into some medicines that help reduce inflammation in the body. So, and then also, the huckleberries that are very important to any human being, and they're obviously tasty. And then, of course, that how are we going to ensure we have some access to other things such as, and I'm sure we'll be talking about non-timber forest products even further. Well, I'm not sure. I'm just hoping we're going to do that. Yeah, so thanks everyone again for being here tonight. There were 2 questions posted. Forgive me, everyone, I'm not a Zoom host, but are there any questions from any of the attendees that are listed in our participant list?
There are no hands raised at this time, Maxine.
I'd like to acknowledge myself for doing that. I guess for me, it would be, I was so amazed with your presentation, Clay, but I didn't hear when we were going to start the harvesting.
We still have to put the blocks into cutting permits. We have all the government approvals. The forest stewardship plan and the management plan, like Abe said, have been approved by the provincial government. But like any other forestry company, we do have to submit cutting permits to the province. So that shows the areas, the maps that we're going to be logging, an estimate of the volumes we're going to be logging. And then they compare it to areas that they have basically identified for protection through different provincial features, old growth management areas, culturally protected areas through the SLRP, things like that. So they make sure that we're not logging what we're not supposed to be logging, but Abe does a good job. He never gets us into trouble. So, and then from there, they give us an official cutting permit to harvest that timber. So no, we can't just go out and hang a couple ribbons and go cut down trees, Maxine. We have to go through all the provincial regulations just like everybody else. But once that happens, we will be able to go and legally harvest the timber. We do share all that information as well with the government. It goes through a log sort, and the volumes get accounted for, and we will be paying stumpage back to the province on the timber that we harvest. But we are looking at submitting the cutting permit for the upcoming blocks here within the next week or two. So generally it takes between 2 and 4 weeks for a cutting permit to get approved. So we're looking at about a month to a month and a half before anything can legally go forward. But once we submit the cutting permit and get an estimated time of harvesting, we'll definitely let everybody know when the harvesting is planned for. So
Thank you very much for providing that information, Clay. What comes to my mind, the process that even our own Lil'wat Forestry Ventures logging company, we have to go through the process, what the Lil'wat Nation puts forward through the Lil'wat land referral process, and then also to even be able to name the community forest, we had to put the request through to our Lil'wat Cultural Heritage Language Authority to be allowed to use the name Spel. You know, it's we got a number of policies to help us move forward, but as well as to protect our language, and it's a beautiful relationship. It was good to hear from Nikki that this idea has been in the works for some time. It took this long and our persistence to be able to move forward. I'm really happy to see that we've come to this place. I remember being at the open house in Pemberton and with Sarah and Clay and Carrie Mahaffey, and you know, there were people coming in and leaving, and I said, I can't believe this. This is just amazing. We're actually moving forward, but I didn't realize it was like decades it took to come to this place. So at some point we all need to congratulate each other's. You know, it's quite a relationship that we're building. We're moving forward together, and let's release that good energy into the universe, and we'll be very successful. It's a wonderful opportunity to steward the land together. And, you know, we've been living in the same valley for many, many years. And so I'm very excited about this process. Well, we are 3 minutes to complete our webinar. I would like to ask Carrie Mahaffey to share some closing comments. And don't get me wrong, I'm going to ask everybody to share your perspective.
Sorry, I'm not the final closing remarks. Okay. Yeah, I just want to thank everyone for taking the time, and I really just hope that everyone feels, you know, we didn't get a lot of questions tonight, but you know, I think that the great thing about a community forest is that we will be having these meetings, you know, on at least an annual basis to talk about where harvesting may occur. You'll have an opportunity to provide input. You know, I think it's a lot more, you know, honestly, just meaningful and then better engagement when we can do this in person, and you can look at a map a little bit more closely and point and look and talk. So certainly looking forward to that. Yeah, so just, I mean, yeah, just thank you very much, everybody, for coming tonight.
Awesome. Thank you, Carrie. And from the Village of Pemberton, can you share some closing comments?
Absolutely, thank you. I don't have a lot more to add from what Carrie said by way of thanking everyone for attending this evening. I think it was a great step for us all. I've actually never participated even in the Cheakamus Community Forest open houses. So I'm hoping that we will, as we move along on an annual basis, or as frequent as we are able to gather to talk about the harvest plans, you know, get some more interest from the community. It'd be great, as mentioned here, to get some more feedback. I'd also like to remind everyone that please do check out the website to see the information that's on there. Some of them are relatively technical reads, but if you need interpretation, I'm sure that any of the experts on tonight, Clay, Carrie, Abe, Sarah, I'm sure even Maxine can provide some additional information that we would be happy to facilitate. So we're definitely looking forward to seeing what the next steps are. And yes, thank you again, everyone.
Awesome. Do you have any final comments to share with us, Abe and Sarah?
Hi, yeah, thanks. I would just say again, yeah, thank you everyone for attending. And I look forward to building on this, and hopefully, you know, a big part of it is the communication, and I hope we can build on this start and you know, open up those channels and really get some positive feedback from and you know, two-way dialogue going on how the community forest runs. So I'm really excited about being involved in this project. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, likewise, just really excited to see this all coming together, see you all here today, all the attendees, participants. So yeah, thanks for being here, and congratulations, everyone. And thank you, Maxine, for hosting this evening.
Awesome.
Yeah, really great.
Thank you, Sarah. And Sheena, you're a big part of the mechanisms that keep things moving. So please share from, you know, what you've heard tonight and what your thoughts about are moving forward.
Well, I'm certainly learning a lot as we move through this process, and I've been very grateful for all the support and the patience that Abe and Sarah have given to the village, us newbies in the world of forestry, and certainly Clay and Carrie in guiding us, and Maxine, your expertise, and I thank you for hosting. You're doing an amazing job. So, and I'm looking forward to having more of these sort of community meetings, and to reiterate what Carrie said, you know, to do it in person is definitely a more tactile opportunity, because you can look at the maps and you can really pinpoint where your areas of interest are, and that's really helpful for this group. So thank you to everybody. Thank you for everyone who attended, and thanks for all the work that everybody's done over the last number of years. It's been a real privilege and pleasure to be part of this process.
Awesome. Those are wonderful words to share. Gwen, can you bless us or with some comments? I know it's this new way we're meeting together. So please share your perspective.
It's not as spontaneous as it. I just wanted to thank you, Maxine, for taking charge and running the meeting, and just to say that I have learned a lot from reading the background information and listening to Clay's presentation. It's been a great experience, and thank you everyone for putting it all together.
All right. For the final closing remarks, I'd ask Clay to please wrap it up and wrap us up, and with some of your technical perspectives and then also your vision, I suppose.
So I guess for my technical perspectives, Maxine, would be the fact that forest science isn't rocket science. It's a lot more complex than that. So it's you know, we look at a lot of science-based decisions when we're out there, but we also, you know, look at social science. We look at people, and we look at basically even more than that, right? The forest brings a lot of values to everybody, whether it is, science or whether it's spiritual. So we're looking at all these different values, and we're trying to make a balance of it, right? So we're trying to balance dollars with the value that the forests bring us standing. So we're going to do our best to do that and make the community as prosperous and as proud as they can be. I did speak at another conference yesterday and got lots of questions about the Spel Community Forest. So there are people throughout the province looking at what we're doing and are interested in it as well. So yeah, definitely everyone should be really proud of where we've gotten to, and definitely be proud as we move forward of the forestry work that we plan on doing. Thanks.
Nice. Thanks again, everyone, for participating tonight, and thank you, and forgive me for my challenges with trying to host a Zoom meeting. I said I'm not technical. I don't know how to mute everybody or unmute, and I didn't respond to any of the questions. I just felt that it was good to just read those questions out loud. I'm sure there are going to be more questions coming to the Village of Pemberton, to the Lil'wat Nation. I'm really excited about our relationship and how we're moving forward. I have to admit that I was a bit of a deer in headlights, not sure where to start. And I actually had set out to open our meeting with a prayer in our language. I just feel it's such an appropriate thing to do, but I was like, whoa, I feel like I don't know what to say first, but thank you, everyone. I love the PowerPoint, and I'm just so glad that you were all here to be able to answer the questions that the community was putting forward. This isn't the end of community engagement. It's ongoing, especially from my perspective, especially for a community forest. We're all in it together. So Kukshnum Katlab Nishti. I meant what I said was thank you, everyone. That's all I have to share.
Thank you very much, Maxine.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.